Hey everybody, welcome to the February 2022 State TA Day webinar. We have a pretty packed schedule again today. As always, make sure you're putting questions in the chat, in the questions box, and we'll get them answered. Anything we don't answer, we will send a follow-up email for. So we're gonna just hit the ground running. I'm gonna hand it over to Josh Franklin with Clayton Early Learning. And he's going to give us a little update.
All right.
All right, Josh, you should be good to go.
Okay. One sec. Let's see. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes, we see your cute pup and
my wife and son.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's switch that. They're great guys. It's my son's 8th birthday just the other day. So.
Oh wow! Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Hold on one sec. Is that a little bit better?
Yes.
All right. One second. Okay, so I'm just going to give quick updates on Colorado Shine's ratings. Some of this stuff is things I think people have seen before, but there's some changes. So just going to kind of give an update, and then I'll leave some time for questions at the end. So January we started the in-person observations with refreshed framework and using the 3rd edition of the environmental rating scales. So return to in-person observations and observable indicators. And scheduling providers in the queue and sending providers confirmation of their rating windows, just kind of like always. I'm going to talk more about scheduling and the queue in a little bit. But there are over 100 programs in the queue. So COVID-19 surge in January impacted our observations. And some of them we had to reschedule, but some not. And we're going to be releasing some of the some of those programs on the 28th as usual. The observations that had to get rescheduled are being completed in February and March. And we'll be releasing those ratings after those reports are written, kind of on a rolling basis when those for those programs who had their ratings impacted or for the observations impacted. So we're going to continue to schedule and conduct in-person ERS observations, right? But we also understand that COVID kind of has provided some new challenges. So we want to, I'm going to talk about that. So we want a continued communication with our quality assessment associates about any COVID-related concerns that could impact in-person observations. All right, but the main, the name of the game is flexibility. We'll be flexible with programs, and we want programs to be flexible with us. So this could include, rescheduling observations to a more optimal time frame, which could be in a program's rating window or slightly outside of the rating window. And that'll just kind of be determined on the program's current situation and on the quality assessment associates' capacity and availability, but it may not apply to all programs, right? So we want to get all of our observations done in the original rating month, but we know that some things have kind of lagged, and we're in an imperfect world right now. But it's getting more perfect by the day, which is exciting. All right, so scheduling. Before COVID, right, it kind of looked like this, real fun, real easy, everyone kind of knew the rules. And then now it's the same game, but a little bit more challenging. So again, flexibility is going to be the name of the game. So our current status, right? If a provider is in the queue, they should be prepared to rate with 60 days notice, just like normal times. So everyone in the queue has gotten numerous communications from me, just kind of taking the temperature of the program. And then programs that have been hanging out in the queue for a while should update their L3, L5 applications quickly, right? I can email me to unlock it. I'll give my contact information out later. But that just helps us, update the information, know about classrooms that could impact scheduling, and project workloads and everything. So like I said, programs who have submitted an L3, L5 application should expect to be scheduled. They may not get scheduled in the same month as they did 3 years prior, but they should be ready to go. So right, we want to give some priority to programs who have an expired rating, who have been in the queue for long periods of time, but also want new programs engaging, to go through the rating, and also programs expiring. So there's a lot of kind of calculus that I'm considering here. So programs are contacted by the Quality Assessment Associate, assigned as their lead about a week before their rating window opens to complete the orientation call or Zoom meeting. So rating window example. I know some of you guys, some of you all may have seen this before, but I get questions about it all the time. So right, so say a program's rating in March. So their lead assessor is going to call them at the end of January. This is fast, but right, then their rating window, which is a 2-month period, so February and March, right? So at that orientation call, the assessor is going to open up the documentation portal and also give the survey links. And then they have all of February and March to complete the surveys and upload evidence, upload documentation. Okay, and then the ERS observation will occur sometime in the month of March. Okay, so yeah, like I said, the surveys and documentations close at 5 p.m. on March 31st, right? The last day of the month. All right, and then during the month of April, we'll review the evidence, write the report, and then release the rating April 30th. So it's kind of a long process, but okay. So our current status, right? So just request to postpone and have a rating held during the postponement requires an official request to the Early Childhood Council, and then with state approval. So what that's kind of looks like is changing the expiration date and reversing the L3, L5 application, because we want everyone in the queue to be ready to rate within, at approximately 60 days, right? I'm going to give 60 days notice. It slows down the process. If there's a couple emails back and forth, be like, oh, well, we can't rate then, or right. So there's some options. A request, an extension was the word I was looking for, should be going through the Early Childhood Council, and then they can contact the help desk or Charlie or Michelle. So documented. Okay. Also, if a program is a level 2 and doesn't want to rate, then they can get their application reversed, and then they could submit their application when they're ready to rate. We want programs to, right, when they submit their application, that tells us that they're ready to rate. And if they're just going to hang out in the queue and I contact and be like, oh, well, we're ready in the fall, I'm going to be like, hey, request an extension, or we can reverse your application and you can submit them, because I want to get programs scheduled now. I just, kind of slows down the process when, programs drop during their rating month, want to do an alternative pathway during the rating month, because those are other programs that we could get in there. So all you all support, people can, reach out to programs who you support and make them aware of the rating and remind them to update their application and contact information. You can add yourself as the QI navigator in Salesforce. That's super helpful to really engage with those programs, because when they get automated emails, you're also going to get those. So that could be, during the midpoint check-ins, right? All these manual emails will also get sent to you. When the rating gets released, you'll also get that notification as well. And just encourage programs not to wait to ask for an extension, right? When I reach out to programs, I want them to be ready. I want it to be great. I don't want 4 or 5 emails later and then we get an extension. Yeah, it just really slows things down, and we can't increase capacity and whittle away that queue as efficiently as I'd like. So okay, so communications, right? So it's right. People ask me, like, would you please make clear to me, like, who I should contact, And I say it's simple, right? So Jay Franklin at ClaytonEarlyLearning.org. So for general scheduling questions, right, this is me, this is my email address. Email me about scheduling. email me to unlock Colorado Shines applications to make updates. If a provider wishes to re-rate, so that would be they went through the Colorado Shines rating and they weren't satisfied with their final results. 6 months after their original rating window, they can submit an application. And usually those programs are ready and want to kind of get in. And when I have late drops or something happens, I can slide those programs in quickly. So if I get a little heads up on that, I kind of have a hot list of programs to kind of slide in. That's helpful. And then if a provider plans to or has begun the formal extension process, that's helpful for me to know too. And then if, we're trying to, tag me or Maria in Salesforce chatter, that's helpful. And an email is also good. Yeah, so when to contact others, right? Formal requests for rating extension, contact Early Childhood Council, who will send a letter to the Colorado Shines team. Reverse applications, Colorado Shines Help Desk, right? That'd be someone submitted on accident, someone's a level 2, doesn't want to rate, contact the help desk. If there's Pdis concerns, contact Pdis help desk. So if there are some major concerns, contact them once. It kind of slows it down when there's multiple requests. And then if I believe there's like a worksheet to estimate credentials, that's probably the best place to go. But then we also during rating windows can prioritize communications with Pdis. So just know, I know that right they're doing a great job of working through credentials, but yeah, we don't want to slow them down. Okay, so when to contact others, right? If you have questions about indicators, so this COS indicators at ClaytonEarlyLearning.org, right? It's kind of like Colorado Shines indicators. That's going to go straight to our data team, and one of us will respond. So either me, Thierry, Danielle, or Susanna. And then ERS scheduling. If you have any questions about the ERS, environmental rating scales, they are the experts, state anchors. Right, Charlie used to work with them really closely, managed that team. So, so some resources, right? These are all on our website. Really great resources on our website. So recorded info sessions, Q&As, evidence guides, and then my information is right there too. But thank you. Are there any questions? I can take any questions if there are any.
Real quick, Josh, there was a question. How are you determining needs-based flexibility?
Could someone elaborate on that? Yeah. I'll kind of talk if we're kind of waiting for someone to kind of figure out some tech. But I mean, right? We know that there's staffing issues. We know that there are COVID cases and there's emergencies and stuff. If things are kind of, right, I think that there's kind of more long-term things that we can be aware of, but then obviously in some short-term, some, COVID case, something like that. Either way, it's communication. And right, we want to kind of get, the state team on it as well, and we communicate with them really closely. So does that kind of help?
I think so, yeah. And Lilith, we can always follow up on that as well. Cool, but yeah, we do have to keep it moving. We appreciate you, Josh. I know we all got to kind of be flexible, surrender to the flow, and we're going through these ratings the next couple of months. So we appreciate the work that you guys are doing, and thank you so much for your presentation today.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ruda.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Mary. She is going to... All right, Mary, did you get the presentation link? And she's going to talk a little bit about some training of trainers that are coming up.
Yeah, hi everybody. I just want to make sure you can hear me.
Yes. Okay,
perfect. I don't have a presentation. Well, I have an announcement, but I don't have a slideshow to show you. So I'm Mary Heffernan, the Training Alignment Coordinator with the Early Childhood Workforce Development Team. And today I wanted to tell you about 2 training of trainer opportunities that are happening this spring. And these trainings of trainers are being brought to you in partnership with the State Capacity Building Center. So the first opportunity is relationship-based care for infants and toddlers, 6 essential program practices. In this training, participants will learn how to introduce relationship-based care practices to early childhood professionals and children's families. The practices are connected to the pyramid model and to the environment rating scales. This training of trainer opportunity is happening on Tuesdays, April 19th through May 31st from 9 to 10:30 a.m. And in between those live discussion sessions, participants will engage in about 1 hour of watching video content and also some simple assignments. And for that training, participants earn 14 hours of professional development hours. The second opportunity is trauma responsive care for infants and toddlers. In this training, participants will be focused on understanding trauma and how the infant toddler workforce can support young children and families who have experienced trauma or who are at risk of experiencing trauma. And participants are really taught a responsive, healing-centered approach to working and supporting those who have experienced trauma. Now, for this training, it takes place on Wednesdays, May 11th through June 29th from 9 to 10:30 a.m. And in between those live sessions, participants will engage in about 1 hour of reading and some simple assignments. And for that training, people are awarded 18 hours of professional development. There is no cost to attend these other than with the relationship-based care for infants and toddlers training. If you need to purchase an environment rating scale, you'll just incur that small cost. The target audience for these trainings are credentialed coaches, credentialed trainers, and those qualified as EQ Infant Toddler Network specialists. There is a commitment piece to this, to these trainings, and that is if you participate, you're asked that you will offer the training out to early childhood professionals at least once, if not more, a year in your local and or neighboring community until the demand for these trainings has been met. So if you're interested in participating or please getting the word out, we ask that you complete an interest and commitment form by March 16th. And we can put the link to the interest form in the chat, but I know this will also be included in the resources sent out after the webinar. Does anyone have any questions about these opportunities?
I'm not seeing any questions, and I went ahead and put that link in the chat. And like you said, Mary, I'll be sending that up with the follow-up emails as well.
Great, thank you so much, Charlie.
Thank you, Mary. Have a wonderful day. All righty. So let's see, I'm going to hand it over to Aday, and she is going to talk a little bit about the new Conscious Discipline Initiative. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. All right. All right, and Aday, it looks like you're muted.
Hi, everyone. I'm Addie Demolanta, and I'm on the, I coordinate grants for the Incredible Years and Nurse Family Partnerships in the Office of Early Childhood. But I'm supporting this team with the Conscious Discipline stimulus funding that we have. And prior to this, I was with Denver's Council. So the Conscious Discipline funding is ARPA, so it is restricted to those who are working in a licensed or legally exempt child care program, including homes. You can deliver the conscious discipline work in a few different ways. One is a book study where you would assign reading to happen between sessions and then have group sessions to review and discuss the chapters of different conscious discipline books. some of the options are the book titled Conscious Discipline. There's also Creating a School Family and Baby Doll Circle Time. If there is another book that you would like to use for this, that is potentially fine. Just reach out and let me know. The other option is to provide training on conscious discipline using an experienced local trainer, or the online courses that you can purchase from the Conscious Discipline website. You could also use it to attend a training that is put on by Conscious Discipline. The third option is providing coaching to someone who is going through training in a book study or otherwise implementing conscious discipline. And you can also use the funds to purchase materials to support any of those options. The way we are going to do this, the funds are in the GAE. So to make sure we don't overspend that, I created an interest form. It's a Google form. You fill out the Google form with some basic questions about who you are, what it is that you would like to do, how much money you anticipate that you will need, and info about the participants, and then also how activities will be offered. If it's remote, we ask that you would open it up to those who might not be in your geographic area, but anyone who might be interested across the state, or if it's in person or hybrid. And then the timeline of when you would like to offer those activities, just so we can track that on our end. Once you submit this, I will reach out and let you know and set aside the amount of funding that you need on our end. And then you will do the lovely work. I am still working on an invoice form, but it will probably look pretty similar to the EQ invoicing form. And there is also going to be a data collection requirement, still working with the data team on what that looks like. But as I'm sure you are familiar with, we need to know where the money is going and who we are serving. Does anyone have any questions?
I'm not seeing any in the chat. And I'm not seeing any hands raised.
So I will share both of these.
We do have Amberly has a question. Amberly, I sent you an unmute request. It may have been an oops. But I know that we'll be sending out your contact information in this one pager with the follow-up materials from today.
Exactly. Just reach out if you need anything.
Cool. Thank you so much. We're really looking forward to getting this project off the ground, and I know Conscious Discipline is a really cool program, and I hope folks can take advantage of this. All righty. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And next we're going to move to Emily Langrovius, who's going to talk to us about everybody's favorite topic, emerging and expanding.
Hi, everyone. I made a cool presentation and I'm going to show it full screen. Can you see it? I can't tell if you can.
Yes, we see Oprah on there, if that's the right one.
Yep, it's the right one. So I want to start off really quick with a celebration that we, in partnership with licensing, the councils, all of us have awarded $9.1 million in this program. It's been a ton of work for everyone. I think all good opportunities come with a lot of kind of fun things that aren't fun to do to take advantage of them. And so I just wanted to shout out to you all that we've awarded that much money. We have 77 programs that are still under review, which is down from 124 from when I started. One thing I want to point out about these programs that are under review is that it doesn't mean we haven't looked at them. Some of them are not eligible yet because they haven't had, for example, the consultation guide done on site by a licensing specialist yet. So that doesn't mean they're not eligible. They're just under review still. So they're going to sit there for a little bit. I also really wanted to shout out to Randy and Tony, because these women have been, I've basically learned everything, a lot of this and the details of this through working with them on their programs, and they're beyond patient with me. And I feel like we're where we're at because they've been so patient in learning this together with me. So Randy and Tony, I hope I don't embarrass you too much. I just want to thank you. And a lot of you know that I call myself Oprah Clooney. I put Oprah on here because sometimes I feel like we're awarding, you know, all these money and saying, you know, you get a car, you get a car. And now I'm going to turn over to the Clooney side of this because there's a movie called Up in the Air and George Clooney's in it. And he's training this young lady, and he basically works as a consultant, and he goes around and like fires people and then leaves. And so I feel like sometimes when we say no to these applications, if they're not eligible or they need to withdraw, I sometimes feel like this character in this movie. So I prefer to be Oprah, not Clooney, but you know, we do what we've got to do, right? So the in progress under review. So in those under review group, we're looking at a request of 5.4 million. We have 3.6 million remaining, which means that there's a gap of 1.8 million. You remember our my presentation from last time, that gap has shrunk a lot, and it's not because of anything, we're not doing anything different in our reviewing process. It's as we go through, especially with these large capital projects, the realization is coming that this is not going to be ready in time, and therefore they're not eligible for this funding stream. So it hasn't been, we haven't done anything different in reviewing any of these applications, whether they're over 50,000 or under 50,000. We've been able to kind of narrow this gap organically, and I'm confident and hopeful we can continue to do so. So I wanted to keep a couple factors in mind as we continue down this path. There's only 4 months left till the end of the fiscal year. So if you have a program that has a large capital project that has not even started, I don't think it's reasonable that they'll be done within those 4 months to be open and operationable. Now, you might have different information. We can totally talk about it. But at this point, if they haven't pulled permits needed, they haven't broken ground, nothing like that, we really need to figure out, is this really going forward, and have those hard conversations. For applications over $50,000, so these ones are the ones that are really can be sitting in that under review section for a bit, because we can't mark these as eligible until either the on-site consultation is completed, which is done near the end of construction, or it's actually licensed. So if you have a program that is currently licensed and they fit the eligibility criteria of being new, so it's not a change in governmental body, it's a brand new program, and they are seeking reimbursement for costs that they've already incurred, that's great. What I'm asking you to do is make sure that you have the invoicing or the demonstration of payment before we mark the funds. We go through the review committee to determine eligibility, because I want to make sure that once the MOU is signed and all of that, you all can process these as quickly as possible. We're doing a lot of front end work on these applications so that once they're approved, hopefully it's a little smoother on that back end. So I also want to note that, like, the under 50,000, they still need a consultation guide completed if they're from a licensing specialist, or they need to have applied for their new license type. So a couple of those that are under review, for example, aren't eligible for the experienced license type until April. So we don't want to say you're not eligible until, to see if they can actually apply and go through that process. So that's where we are on E&E. I'm happy to answer questions. I also want to put out there that I've had a couple one-on-one conversations with councils that are just, this has been a confusing, evolving process. We've all been learning this together. I started in January. You guys have been dealing with this for months, and it's kind of changed as it went along. So I just want you to know I'm here. I'm happy to schedule some time to talk with you. I should have put my cell phone number on this presentation, but I'm happy to talk with you, work through it, help and make sure that you understand, that your providers understand where they're at and why the decisions are made the way they're made. And I end because you guys, a lot of you on this call were around when I had the boys, and this is a current picture of them from last week. We were in South Florida, and now it's like 3 degrees. So I am still dealing with a little bit of whiplash, weather whiplash. So I'm gonna look at the questions and see what we've got. Emily, when do you stop reviewing applications that have CI projects? Not sure it's fair to keep providers waiting. Yeah, Rachel, I'm really trying to review them all as quickly as possible. So if you have, that's the ask I want to make of you. If you have programs, I don't care how much money they've asked for, and you're confident that they have everything they need to be approved or go through that eligibility process, please highlight those for me, because yes, we're going through them all. I know I haven't looked at all 77. So I'd really like to be able to get that. I hope that helps, Rachel. So let me know which ones those are, because I want to make sure. Okay. Going to the next one. I can't see if I can see the next one.
I don't know if there are any other questions there.
Cool. Is it too late for a licensed center to apply for the grant? Yes. The deadline has passed. So yeah, and hopefully they can apply for other grant funding through our office, but I'm not sure. So I am not familiar with the other grants also. I can connect you, but I am not your person. I will find your person for that. What other questions or comments or feedback do you have? I know I sound really cheesy with all of my gratitude and expressing it all the time, but I know it's been a long process for everyone, and this is an awesome opportunity for our communities. So here we are. Any other questions, comments, feedback? So, oh, you're so great, Lisa. I'm so happy to be back with you all and working with you in this capacity. So thanks for welcoming me with open arms.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Emily. I do have to share that me and Oprah are over here rooting for you as well. And we appreciate you so much in the work that you're doing. This is just my Oprah head that I keep by my desk for good luck. So
that's awesome, Charlie. I love it. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Oprah. And no, I don't like being George Clooney. Okay. So, sometimes you got to be Clooney. All right. Have a good one, y'all.
All right. So next up, we have Kristen Lang, who is going to give us some PDG updates. And she just hopped on from another meeting. So thanks for hopping around today for us.
Hey there. Since I forget every time how to share my screen, just wondering, are you seeing the slides or are you seeing just me?
We're seeing a flower.
Okay, that's not helpful.
A pretty pink flower.
Okay.
It always picks the screen. Screen I don't want it to.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
But now we got it.
Okay. All right. Well, hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm excited to be back here to give some updates on the preschool development grant work that impacts councils. And for those of you who I haven't met, my name is Kristen Lang. I'm the Program Access Manager for our preschool development grant, which we refer to as Colorado Shines Brighter if you are unfamiliar with it. So the first strategy I wanted to give you a really exciting update about is the Inclusion and Universal Design Project. This is responsive to Colorado Shines Brighter Strategy 4.1.2, which is our strategic plan. If you're ever curious about that strategic plan, I'll send these slides as a PDF to Charlie, and you can click on the link and see the full strategic plan that was developed in the early years of the grant for our state. So let's jump in. Exciting to announce that applications for our third cohort of the PDG Inclusion and Universal Design Project will open February 28th and are due on March 16th. We originally were thinking about a March 14th deadline and wanted to give a few extra days to folks, so we're sticking with that March 16th deadline. You can find that application on the PDG Inclusion and Universal Design website, which is linked in this presentation. And I'm going to see if I can actually manage to put something in chat while I'm talking, as I'm not excellent with this format. Let's see, did that go through? Okay. So hopefully that went through. That's the link to the website. Oops. If you haven't been on,
it's in there.
Okay, thanks, Charlie. If you haven't been on it, please go check it out. I'll explain more about the project. I know we were recently at a Hot Topics call with ECLA, so hopefully you all are up to speed on this, but it's an incredible opportunity for our licensed providers, homes and centers, as well as school-based providers to really learn how to adapt their environment as well as the materials that they use in their classrooms to support children with delays and disabilities. So this next cohort will go from April to September of 2022. As mentioned, we have a focus on licensed providers serving children birth to 5. We will be able to accept 48 participants in this third cohort, which is the same number we had in the second cohort. If we have more than 48 applicants, we do use a prioritization of programs that serve children that are typically children and families that are typically underserved in our early childhood and education landscape, as well as a preference for community-based providers who typically have less access to support in terms of creating inclusive classrooms than our school-based providers. So that's only if we get more than 48 applications, but just so you're aware of how we prioritize those. And that information will be included in the application details as well. What participants receive: training for PDIS credit. They receive coaching from our experts at the Center for Inclusive Design and Engineering. They receive kits that contain materials and resources to help them make low-tech adaptations to their environment materials. And they have the opportunity to earn incentives, which includes a lending library of adaptive equipment to test out in their classroom before they would consider whether they wanted to go ahead and order that. I want to emphasize too that we've created a document that makes it clear how participating in this project can help providers in their quality rating and improvement system. And so we have all of that laid out for homes and for centers with the new QRIS in this document. I just added that to the chat as well, but you'll be able to access that through the slide deck too. So really good thing to promote. You'll be seeing a lot of information, of course, we'll send directly to councils about the application link and reiterating this, but just wanted to make a plug for you all to encourage your providers to think about applying. I wanted to just put up this quote from a prior participant, which I think is so reflective of this project and the power of the project. I won't read this to you. I want you to take a moment to read it, but this is from a home-based provider that participated in Phillips County. And really just speaks to how accessible the Center for Inclusive Design and Engineering has made this project for the cohort members and how meaningful it is to the children that they serve. So I'll give you just a second to read that. Okay, so hopefully you've been convinced to send your providers our way when that application opens on February 28th. The next strategy I wanted to give some updates on is the childcare business training consultation strategy. This is responsive to Colorado Shines Brighter strategy 5.1.2. Just a real quick plug for any providers you know that are looking for business training. Right now, Boulder is offering a Spanish language training targeting home-based providers, which include family, friend, neighbor, caregivers. And so the link to registration is there. The course did start this Tuesday, but they're still willing to take folks on because they're able to get them caught up. And so if you have any providers or, whether they're licensed or family, friend, neighbor, license exempt providers that could use some support in this area and are Spanish speaking, please send them the registration link for the Boulder training. We also have coming up in March a training by Aurora South Metro where the registration link is also live. That is going to be focused on centers and in English, and then a few coming up in April as well. Just a reminder that we have all of our trainings that are available listed on our PDG website, which is hyperlinked here under the Training, Scholarships, and Grants for Early Care and Education Professionals. We have all of the listed small business development centers offering training this year. And actually, Larimer's Small Business Development Center just reached out about exploring that. So we're excited and already told them that they would need to connect with the Early Childhood Council of Larimer County, and so we'll see how that develops. But hopefully, we'll be growing, the number of small business development centers offering this through Larimer. So we will stay in touch about that. We do have, of course, free consultation available to all providers. The document that is linked there explains how you can access consultation, and it also provides access information for folks who don't speak English. So there are a couple other languages that small business development centers are able to support. So you'll see that in 2021, we had 116 ECE professionals take advantage of this Small Business Development Center consultation for 218.25 hours of consultation, free consultation in 2021. So we'd love to see that number grow. A lot of the consultation does happen for folks who attend the training, but it doesn't have to. So if you have a provider who has a particular business need or concern and are not able to attend a training, they can still reach out and find out whether their Small Business Development Center can help them through consultation. I know we talked about this last time, so I don't want to totally belabor the points here, but early childhood councils are critical partners in this work. We can't do it without you. Small business development centers can't do it without you. We love your support in terms of promoting the trainings that are available. They're all happening right now live virtual, so they're open to anyone across the state regardless of who is running that particular program. We also have created that QRIS connection for the business training. So it explains how participation in the Small Business Development Center training can support access to the QRIS system. We have the shared drive that has all of these linked resources available for councils, including how councils can get compensated for partnering in this work. So you see the guidance document linked here about that, the 3 ways, consulting with SBDCs one-on-one, attending and providing technical assistance during the training, as well as sort of a miscellaneous category. I wanted to emphasize something I missed last time, which is that for coaches that decide to attend business training, if they do attend the entire series, they're able to get professional development credit in PDIS in the same way that our ECE professionals are. And so this is just another plug. You have to attend every single session, but If you do, then you can ask that SBDC trainer to include the coach's name in the attendees, and then Mary Heffernan on our PDIS team is able to award them credit for that time. Any questions about the Early Childhood Council engagement with small business development centers, please direct my way. I'm happy to answer and talk through any councils that haven't been involved yet. The last strategy I'll do a quick update on are the Ecc Shared Measures. You've probably seen me too much with regard to this strategy, but this is in response to our strategic plan 1.2.4. As you all know, we've worked so closely with councils, with ECLA, collaboratively to develop this ability to tell the statewide story of council impact through the Shared Measures Guide. We have asked councils to complete those 5 statewide measures, which are what we're asking everybody to do by February 28th, and that's Monday. Oh my gosh. And just a reminder, if you want to report on the local program priorities, you can, but you do not have to. Always check the hyperlink for the Shared Measures Guide and use a downloaded version of that as you sit to work on this, because we're making updates to it regularly based on council feedback. Just a reminder again about the sign-up sheet for access to PDIS reports. If you're continuing to have issues accessing those reports at this time, just email me and I can pull them for you, and we will resolve the PDIS issues after the reporting period. And then finally, a plug that we have some time set aside still for one-on-ones if you need support as you dig in. I'm dropping all these links here. Please feel free to sign up for those one-on-ones. And so here's my email. Any questions you can send to me, and I'm probably over time, so I'll stop there.
Thank you, Kristen. Just double checking. I'm not seeing any hands raised and not seeing any questions in the chat, but we know how to get a hold of you, and we really appreciate you hopping on today.
Hey, thanks so much.
All righty. Next up, Karen is going to update you on what our team has been working on, or what we will be working on.
Are you guys seeing my screen? I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Okay, let me get it, try to get it in presentation mode. Apologize. Okay.
And we're a little bit ahead of schedule, actually, so.
Okay, cool. So if there's questions, great. Appreciate people jumping in. Well, hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us, as always, this afternoon. It's always great to get a chance to chat, even though this is a little bit, you know, of a one-way communication. We're still trying to work on how we can get this to be a little bit more of a fluid time together. So watch next month. We might try to do a pilot on using a different format. So anyway, I wanted to give everybody some updates on what's happening. Nothing is too surprising because you guys have all heard this, but we'll kind of share some timelines and some things that are going on. So you guys heard from Emily already on the emerging and expanding. So I'm happy to say we are just this close now to getting the amendments out. We're going to make this very painless. Basically, if you have an E&E grant in your council and you have funding still available, which everybody did, and we will just simply be adding the indirect to your budgets and sending out the amendments. And Emily's working on that, and we are committed to get those out ASAP, hopefully starting next week. And basically, once those are reviewed, signed, and sent back and signed, then you'll be able to start adding that indirect to your invoices. So thank you guys so much for your patience on this. This has really been a challenging process, and there's still more challenges ahead for our accounting team to kind of sort all this out. But that is the only amendment we'll do on this. And everything else will just drop into the GAE. So the good news is, as soon as we get this amendment done, we're going to ask the sugar team to go into add the indirect to all of the requisitions that are outstanding in the sugar system. And so you won't have to worry about that either. There'll just be funds added to those requisitions for indirect so that you can start to build the indirect on those as well. So that is the INI stuff. Okay, talk a little bit about quality. Yeah.
Can I pause for a question while we're still talking about that? Apologies if I didn't comprehend. Will indirect for E&E only be added to outstanding balances but not previous billing?
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the merit award piece. And as you guys know, we keep getting new information from our lovely federal office. And so, you know, nothing has changed as far as like what we think we're going to have to report on, but we are trying to make this easier on you as far as how to manage it inside of the Ecc Connect system. So our amazing and wonderful Lilith, who we work with closely, and her development team, along with our development team, have gotten together, and we are working to change our interface, if you will, between Salesforce and Sugar so that you won't have to do that extra step of checking that Salesforce report to check for the eligibility. So we're thinking this is going to be done within the next week or two. And then we will get you information to say, hey, everything's cool. You can disregard that report that's in Salesforce that we had originally sent out in that email. So we're excited that that's going to be one step that you won't have to do in the future. We will also be sending out updated instructions, and I say we, but really it's Lilith, our wonderful Lilith over in our Ecc Connect land is working closely with us, and she's gonna get a lot of these instructions updated, as well as like tips on how to manage the merit awards better within the Ecc Connect system. So like using comment areas to insert what the funds will be used for, and then using narrative sections to remind programs that you need a W-9 if they're requesting a check. She's also setting up some reports for tracking these awards, just trying to make this really straightforward and a little easier to manage. So watch for that. And I would think probably within the next week, two at the latest, that we'll get that information out to you guys. Okay, so just a quick update on the merit awards as well. Programs eligible for awards this state fiscal year. So the ones that have been getting the level changes this fiscal year. So just a reminder that in the sugar system, they're not going to roll forward these requisitions. So cut the checks before June 30th if that's what they're requesting. Or if they're requesting to use the funds for TSQI or ESQI, be sure that you use those before June 20th or June 30th, 2022, because they won't roll forward in the sugar system. And this is just a reminder, you guys know this, but if you are doing direct payments from your ECC to a provider to get the W-9 information, we also are going to be updating the invoice template. We thought we were going to get to avoid doing this, but we were just informed this week that our accounting group needs to track the merit awards on a different line item. So we'll get that updated here very, very quickly and get that out to you guys, hopefully within the next week. Okay, that was it on merit awards. Is there questions on that?
I'm not seeing any.
Okay. And also too, don't hesitate to reach out to me or to your coordinator if you've got specific questions that are, you know, specific to your council. We're happy to just sit down and hash through them with you. And, you know, gosh, if you stump us, we'll figure out where to get the answer and get back to you as quickly as possible. So let's move on to current year budgets. This is a fun topic since you guys are still waiting. A few of you are still waiting on your amendments to actually get back to you. More than 50% have actually been executed, so I'm happy to say that now. But we know that we're getting a later than normal start. And a few of you have reached out and said, are these funds going to roll forward? And so, of course, I posed that question to our group. And unfortunately, we do not have any roll forward authority for these funds. But here's the good news. We expect that we will have unspent funds for this fiscal year for 21-22. So we are going to make changes to your 22-23 allocations to increase those, assuming that we will not spend down 21-22. So we're not going to do amendments because we wouldn't be able to get them done to reduce funds this year and add them next year. We're just going to add funds next year, and we'll send out those new budget spreadsheets for you guys, which I'm going to chat about here in a minute on timelines for next year's budgets. Do you feel like you don't do anything but budgets? Because sometimes that's how we feel here, so kind of crazy. But let's talk about next state fiscal year. So next state fiscal year, as you probably are already aware, you would have normally had all of your information before the 24th of February. We're in a slightly delayed timeline, but we do expect within the next 2 weeks, we will get all of the documentation out to you guys to start that process of getting your scopes of work, your budgets, all your contract forms. So those will start coming out, and we'll get those spreadsheets updated for those new totals, for those stimulus funding streams that are getting a late start. So you'll see a slight change in those, increasing the funds for next year. Okay, then the other thing is just a reminder is that we are in the throes of working on the Ecc Triennial. Many of you are aware of this. There's a little bit of a kickoff meeting happening with ECLA, I think, well, in a week or two. Anyway, I apologize, I don't have the date. But just know that we executed a contract with the Butler team to support this work this year. And we are, we're excited to be working with them, and we're excited to be working with all of you to really and truly highlight all the incredible work that's happening in your communities and how you are supporting your community. So we are, we're thrilled to be really focused on those elements of community engagement that all of you are doing. And so you will see, you will get information. They'll be contacting you for some updated things like your strategic plan. We are already sharing out your quarterly reports, so you won't have to do that. But there will be some interviews and that sort of thing. So, but we're working super close with Megan, and there's the rest of the group that's with the organizational capacity group, and we'll just keep you guys informed of how that's going. But I think that this is going to be a great evaluation. And then we're looking forward, of course, to using our new standards, hopefully our shared measures that Kristen was just talking about for our next triennial. So lots of fun, exciting things going on. So I think I see a few questions. Yeah, Stacy. Budgets have been the theme. I swear, I dream about them these days. When will the 22-23 budgets be due? So Betsy, we'll give you at least 3 weeks to work on them. So I'm thinking you know, it'll be late March, early April, but we'll get you those timelines as soon as all that documentation goes out. And yeah, at least the same, I'm thinking about a 3-week. You guys have everything from the budget spreadsheet that we sent out with this last amendment. The only thing that is incorrect is the family childcare home and the availability for care, because we're going to add some funding to that line. But I've done the calculations already, so I think I can get those out to you guys pretty quick. Yeah, Judy, I do believe that I saw that this was recorded. And also, just don't hesitate to reach out to me or your coordinator at any point in time if you just want to, you know, chat through your ECC's needs. And we're absolutely happy to meet with you guys.
I see Lisa Sater is raising her hand, so I'm going to unmute her.
Sorry, I'm trying to think back what my question was here, because it was a while back. Sorry, Karen, I don't remember what it is. You might have answered it, so
Yeah, no,
think of it, I'll shoot you an email.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to it.
I think it has to do with the merit awards, actually.
Okay.
And so we'll just have a separate line. It doesn't matter what they do with their award. We'll just track it in that line.
Well, it does matter what they do with their award. And so, you know, initially we thought it was just like, oh, you know, it's just an award. It's award is award you can use for whatever. But the federal guidance came out, and actually your fiscal got a copy of that guidance. It's just buckets of things that they can spend it on. It mirrors what's in the sustainability funding awards. So basically what we're going to do is send out some guidance to say when your provider gets awarded, at that point in time, we can document in the sugar system. They can tell you, hey, I'm going to use this for, you know, staff salaries, whatever. Okay. And then we could just write it into the comments section of the sugar and start to track it that way. Then we can pull reports at the end of this cycle, this funding cycle, and actually then, you know, look at the data that way. So I think we're kind of figuring this out as we go. The other thing is the demographic information that we're going to have to collect. I think the majority of that will be collected through Metrics, who's sending out the, you know, the monthly grants. So you wouldn't have to also collect it. And as soon as we get our grant manager on board, we'll have that person kind of be coordinating those sorts of things. So just know that we're continuing to work on that.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
And then, Karen, there was one question here about when family child care home navigator training is going to be occurring. I can share the training plan in the chat if that'll be helpful.
Yeah, let's do that because I don't have the exact date. And I know that Sarah from ECLA is organizing that. So I would reach out to her.
Cool.
And you're right, Rachel. We had the same aha moment in our office where we've called them merit awards, we've called them quality bonuses, we've called them all sorts of things. And so I think we've kind of landed on quality merit awards. And thank you for highlighting the fact that we've been saying different things.
All right, I'm gonna just double check real quick if anyone has their hand raised. It doesn't look like it. So yeah, as always, you know, me and Michelle and Karen are working hard to get this information out to you. Feel free to contact us as things come up, or if you have any other questions, or if you just want to connect and chat over the phone or set up a meeting, we're always available to do that as well. Not always available, but we'll make ourselves available.
New team members shortly. The job that Monica's old position posted and it closed, and we have lots and lots of applicants. So we'll start going through that process here in the next week or two, and hopefully we'll get to introduce a new team member, if not on the next TA day, hopefully the one after. So super excited to get our team staffed up again.
Awesome. Cool. One other,
Lisa.
how do we upload? Yeah, okay, you got it.
Yeah, so I think that, again, reach out to Sarah on the availability data. I'm actually working, the data entry field is now set up in Salesforce, and I'm working with Dorothy to try to get a little bit of a guidance document put together so that people know where to enter that data. So I'll get you more information on that as soon as I can.
All righty. Awesome. Thank you so much, Karen.
All right.
All right, next up, we're gonna have Katie E. and Brenda present a little bit on PDIS updates.
Yes, hello everybody, and I am, thanks Charlie, you just gave me the way to share.
Yes, no worries, and
1 second.
I'm trying to unmute Brenda here as well. Brenda, I sent you an unmute request. There you go. So now both of you should be able to talk.
Wonderful, and I'm hoping you can see my slides, and I selected the right
Yes.
here. All right. Well, everyone, thanks so much for your time. I'm Katie Ellersdorfer, here on behalf of the PDIS Help Desk, and Brenda Mays will also be sharing. And we, first of all, I just want to acknowledge once again, we are so grateful for everybody's patience and support as the new PDIS launched last summer. And I know any new system is a big learning curve for us as well as everybody trying to use it. And thank you. I know there's been times where help desk support has taken much longer than anybody has hoped, right? And we know exactly how frustrating that can be. And so we're hoping that these tips today will help just anyone and everyone get the quickest, most efficient, most supportive help possible for any help desk issue that might pop up. And I do want to start by sharing just some good news. And we call these our PDIS engagement stats, and we check these very regularly. And as you can see, kind of right in the center, we've had over 39,000 users log in to the new system. So it's getting plenty of use. So many people have been able to access it, and which is exciting, right? Because I know on the help desk, we often hear about the headaches, right? So when we are able to see these numbers about what is going right, I think that's encouraging, and we'd love to share them with you as well. And I'd like to just add, none of this information is secret. So please feel free to share this with anyone in your network, anyone that you may be answering questions to about the PDIS. Please share anything from this presentation today. We would love this info to get out as widely as possible. And I did want to also highlight just a few numbers here. Since the new PDIS launched in June, this past June, we've had almost 17,000 help desk cases come in, which on the one hand, that's a lot of cases, a lot of people needing help. Also, though, we've had over 16,000 of those be resolved. So the lag between the number of people who've reached out for help and the people that have been helped is not big right now. Right now, we've got, as of this morning, we ran these numbers, only 342 help desk cases are actually open. And while that may seem like a lot once the system first launched, especially in the fall when everybody was going back to school, we had daily upwards of 1,500 open cases at a time. And I share that just to let everybody know we are a small team at Help Desk, but we are mighty, and we're working hard. Everybody is doing everything they can to get people helped as quickly as possible. So the good stuff, some tips about how you can get fast help when you need it. And Brenda, if you're there, I'll go ahead and pass it off to you.
Sure.
Let me know.
And thanks for sharing those stats and the perspective. It feels good as a PDIS tech to get that information out there to everybody. Okay, getting fast help. How can we help you best? Sending an email is helpful because then we don't have a missed call. A lot of the time when we call back, unfortunately, we are working remotely. When we do, we have to block our phone numbers. And so folks don't tend to answer those blocked calls. So sending an email will actually likely get the answer faster to the user. Including details on communications is crucial for us. Oftentimes we have emails or calls that say, my course is stuck. I need to change my email, but they don't include the details for us to help. So I prefer that if someone wants an email notification change, they actually email us because that's a confirmation of the change. So if they will email us and say, I want my email changed to this, then we can go ahead and take care of it right away instead of back and forth or waiting. On the course issues, it is helpful to have username, well, first and last name, username, any screenshots they can include as well. So we can try and imitate the issue and see if it's something that is the course issue or possibly a user issue. Only one contact to the help desk, pretty please. The reason for that is sometimes we've already answered the question and then we get a later email, and just because of the timing of return answers, it's duplicate effort. So if we can get one contact per issue to the help desk, that is helpful in reducing that queue of cases to answer. Only one person. I'm trying to remember what we wanted to say here. So I think that what happens is this is similar to the last issue. When we have only one person contacting the help desk on an issue, then we can actually, we log absolutely every communication we make. So when we have one person contacting, it's easier to find a history on that as well.
Yeah, and Brenda, I'll just add quickly, one thing we were getting at here is there's so much good intention. We receive so many contacts from, say, a director at a childcare center on behalf of their employee, or a council member reaching out to request help, and that's fine. Those means of communication are valid. We welcome them. Where the hiccup happens is if that employee or community member also contacts us. So maybe a teacher reaches out, their director reaches out on their behalf, and a council member also reaches out. Then that causes a bit of backlog because that creates 3 open cases for one issue for one person, which just slows down our response time. So any means of contact is welcome, but if the more we can limit it to one contact for each issue, then that helps everybody get a response much more quickly. And I don't know, Brenda, would you like to continue sharing about login issues?
Login issues are prioritized. They have been for some time. And I just talked with Amy today, and I think we're down to a one-day turnaround on those login issues. Keep in mind that when we do search for these login issues and try to attack those first, what we're looking for are certain keywords in emails and calls. So specifically saying, I have a login issue, I have a password issue. We try to get to those first because then that enables the rest of everything to happen. Tips for submitting external training. I'm just going to throw this out there because these are some things that we're seeing recently. What we are noting is that we're seeing external trainings on an active transcript that are not marked complete. So they're marked as registered, although we recognize a title that might be ours, they're marked as registered. And until they mark those complete, we do not have access to review those. So our professionals will want to make sure that they have marked their updated external trainings complete. Titles preferably and hopefully will match the training certificate. At times we see submissions that are labeled professional development. So when we review these external trainings, we are reviewing it against a completed transcript. And for us to see the title of professional development for all entries takes a lot of time to go in, change those titles, make sure that that's not already on their completed transcript. So preferably a specific title that matches the title of the uploaded certificate. And then also, it would be super sweet if people could check their completed transcript to make sure that hasn't already been reviewed, approved, or denied, and that they are submitting new certificates for professional development training that has transpired in the last 3 years.
Thank you, Brenda.
You bet.
All right, I'm throwing up on this slide a whole bunch of email addresses, and please don't feel pressure to copy them down. We will be sending these out after the webinar wraps up, as well as these slides. So you'll have these for your reference, and we're hoping these will be great additions to everybody's toolbox. So the state can get confusing, even for those of us who work here. There's so many amazing teams, amazing projects and programs, and it's not always clear who to contact for what issue. So just as a quick reference, any questions about these topics, here's how you get help. And these are very handy, because if you can reach out directly to the most appropriate source of help, then you will get help much more quickly, right? We do get questions about all of these topics at the PDIS help desk, and if that happens, we are happy to connect people with the right source of help. But if anybody's able to skip that step, then it's that many fewer days or hours waiting for a response. So like I said, these will come out to you after the webinar for your reference, and please feel free to share these as widely as you want. And then I just wanted to note as well, I'm sure many of you get all the many wonderful emails that come from the OEC, from the PDIS. If you're like me, those can land in your inbox. Sometimes you have time to look at them, sometimes you do not. But next week, we are slated to have an email about this very thing right here, about who to reach out to about different topics, with some additional detail as well. So just keep your eye peeled for that. And speaking of inbox, this is something I actually just learned myself. All those wonderful emails that do come out can be very helpful, but when you get it, you may not have time to read it, or it may not be relevant to you at that moment. So there is a link that will also come out after the webinar that is an archive of all of these emails. So anytime, please feel free to reference this. It's a quick, easy way to find past emails, and it's publicly available. So again, feel free to share this link as widely as you would like. And my slides just froze up 1 second. Lastly, I just wanted to point out many common questions about using the PDIS, navigating the PDIS, who to contact about various things are built into the PDIS system yourself. So hopefully this looks familiar. This is our login page. And right here, down in the lower right, you'll see 3 blue links about navigating the Colorado Shines PDIS, the help desk and FAQs, and what's new on the new PDIS. These do not require a login, so even people that are brand new, that are having trouble logging in, that have not yet created an account or are just curious, can access these links at any time, and you'll find quite a bit of text information. The FAQ page is searchable by topic, and then there's quite a few documents, how-to guides that can be downloaded, and also videos that walk people through common things that we get a lot of questions about. I'm just glancing over at the chat. I'm not seeing any questions. If there are any, go ahead and type them in there. Brenda, I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to add.
There's a quick question here on credential application turnaround time.
And I
that's the
think
big one,
that is
Charlie.
coming up next.
Yes, yeah, great segue. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much. Hearing those help desk stats, I mean, that's pretty incredible. The fact that, you know, the 24-hour turnaround and knocking out 1,600 help desk cases, no easy feat. You guys are so appreciated, and we know you're working your tails off for the providers of Colorado. So thank you both so much. All righty. So let's see. Last but not least, I'm going to help out by presenting, and I'm going to have Jen O'Brien talk a little bit about, Jen, I unmuted you.
Yeah, can you hear me, Charlie?
I can hear you, and let me show my screen.
Great. Thanks for your assistance.
Yes.
Form gives me trouble.
Now I'm on the spot. I had it all pulled up and everything. All right. Let's see.
So while Charlie is queuing up the presentation, just wanted to thank everybody for their time today, for your time today. And I'll be talking a little bit about Early Childhood Professional Credential 3.0.
All right. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it. Great. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So let's go to the next slide here. So first, some numbers. These numbers were pulled earlier this week. And actually, as of today, we have 1,972 applications approved. 110 applications have been closed. And the reason why we close applications is the applicant doesn't have enough points for a level 1, or there is no response after we've sent a request for more information and a deadline. And we have, as of last Tuesday, 2,188 applications in the queue. And it looks like we're processing applications from the beginning of November at this point. Okay, so next slide. Thanks, Charlie. So I wanted to point out some additional resources that are now live on the site. The first is the formal education page. So as you all know, formal education is one of the components of the Early Childhood Professional Credential, and that page describes what we're looking for. The second is the experience page. Again, experience is a component in the Early Childhood Professional Credential, and that page describes both what childcare licensing looks for with qualifications and what we're looking for credentials. We aligned where possible, and in the places where we weren't able to align, we can clearly articulate that. Now, so these two resources are part of a group of resources related to the Early Childhood Professional Credential, and I've listed and linked them here on this slide. All right, next slide, please. Okay. So switching gears a little bit, this next slide describes some of the changes we've made to our accreditation requirements. So as many of you know, accreditation of institutions of higher education ensures a quality educational experience and the transferability of that experience and those credits, okay? So previously, we accepted accreditors that were recognized by both the United States Department of Education and the Council for Higher Education Accreditation, or CHIA, as they're often called. A joint statement, which the statement, if you'd like to read it, it's linked in this slide, was released by a few of the big players in this space, including CHIA, and it really set forth the principles and key considerations that should serve as the foundation for sound, equity-minded institutional policies and practices for the award of credit. After the release of this joint statement and really some deeper learning about the similarities and differences between USDE and CHIA accreditation, we decided to make a change. So moving forward, we'll accept accreditors who are recognized by United States Department of Education or CHIA. We no longer need both. So that brings in 11 more accrediting bodies. The formal education change, thanks to Jen McDonald over at OEC, was changed this morning to reflect all of the accreditors that we accept. And also, CDHS childcare licensing is now doing the same thing, and then CDE licensure will explore doing the same thing when their rulemaking period opens up again. So, trying to achieve that alignment across the spectrum. Okay, so next slide. Okay, thank you. So before I start this slide, I just want to say a quick thank you for all that you're doing to teach the field about the new credential and the new PDIS. We're extremely grateful for your help. So last time we met, I talked about some things you can do to help applicants with their applications. I've listed them again on this slide because we're still seeing these things. So I talked about these things last month. So, you know, just as a reminder, we'll go over them again. We do need official transcripts. And what I mean by official transcripts is an official scanned and uploaded. We don't need paper copies and sealed envelopes. That's not what we mean when we say official transcripts. It's okay for the applicant to open that envelope, scan it, and upload it. The second is when uploading training, we need one training at a time. Third, make sure that you know, folks are reading the information that's on the site. I know it took us a while to get that information on the site, but now that it's there, have folks review that before they submit their application. That will really increase the chances that their application will be successful. Also, you know, if you could please discourage the creation of duplicate accounts. It ends up creating a lot of work for us on the back end, and it really ends up delaying things for the applicant. And then the fifth thing on this slide is encouraging you to explore the training alignment process. One of the benefits of this process is that users then don't have to upload external training certificates. And this slide links to the place on the site that explains the many benefits of the training alignment process. Okay, next slide, Charlie. Okay, thank you. So if you could just encourage people to upload training to the right place, I've linked to a how-to document and a video on my slide here. Number 7, help us communicate that there's no need for applicants to wait until their external training is reviewed before submitting a credential application. That there was some text on the website that led people, I think rightly so, to have that impression, but that's not correct. They don't have to wait to do that. So help us get that word out. Number 8, help us communicate that currently we will review training up to 30 points, right? So when we're reviewing external training and someone hits the cap in the OPD component, we'll stop that review at that point for the credential. Number 9, make sure that people are submitting their application. You have to push that submit button. And then number 10, when editing a previously submitted application, please have users click Save and Close as opposed to Submit, which changes the application's place in the queue. So when editing, have folks click Save and Close. And then one more thing that I didn't list here, and it's likely that you're doing it already, as we're talking with folks, we're learning that a lot of people are under the impression the credential is mandatory. So it may be worth exploring with people why they're applying for the credential. All right, it's 2:30 and I'm done with my slides. So are there any questions out there?
I'm not seeing any in the chat right now, and I'm not seeing any hands raised, so.
Okay, right, thanks for your time, everyone.
Cool. And that is 2:30, so if you gotta hop off, hop off. That was our last presentation of the day. So I'll be sending out the recording and all the follow-up information. Real quick, Jen, if you're still on, with the 3-point cap and OPV section, can we make it easier for people to upload one single transcript? Is a request.
So the request is to upload one document with all certificates.
Yeah, I think that's the request from organizations like Care Courses.
Okay, noted.
Cool. And Nicole, feel free to reach out to Jen too if you want to clarify that a little bit more. All righty. Thank you all so much. Looking forward to a great month of March, and have a wonderful afternoon. Stay warm.